How you doing? How you doing? Man, I really confused the hell out of people when I made a video about 48 hours ago. They thought I was saying something that I wasn't. You know what an antinomy is? An antinomy is like basically two varieties of diametrically opposed crap. Kind of like the poles of a magnet. You can be attacking one pole and someone thinks you're actually giving praise to the other. It's like, no, I'm actually talking about what is opposite analogously. Opposite of both poles of a magnet, which would be like the plane of inertia. The opposite of polarity. When I had a video about 48 hours ago talking about metaphysics, in it I kind of essentially attacked religions for the stupidity that they essentially are, which they, of course, religions are secularized to metaphysics for the slightly less than Gnostically is not a correct word, but we're actually talking about the opposite of episteme or empirical knowledge. Those who are challenged in wisdom a little bit. And I did generically, by and large, attack religions, but people thought that I was, therefore, in attacking that I was giving praise to this, meaning atheism and, or agnosticism, which is even worse, really, in its own way. I was not praising atheism, i.e. atomistic nihilism, whatsoever. A lot of people mentioned two authors, Hitchens and Dawkins. I know one of them is an alcoholic because every time I've seen him on like some commentarial show, his eyes are bloodshot and he's looked like he's been swilling in hard alcohol for the past week. I would literally, and I say this humorously but also literally, I would rather sandpaper my crotch with broken glass than either read any one of their books or spend more than 10 minutes in their close proximity. I have no respect for those people. A lot of people mentioned Hitchens and Dawkins. Like, yeah, I know what you mean by attacking religions. That's why I like. That's just the other. That's the flip side, kind of like a coin, right? You got the face and the tail. We're talking about the antinomies of the essence of what something is, which of course would be the silver of the coinage. Just because you're attacking the head of a coin, i.e. religion, doesn't mean I'm actually giving credence or support to the tail. And atheism is definitely the tail. By the way, I have and this is a couple articles that I wrote, a link below, articles on atheism and why they are profane from the perspective of hardcore metaphysics, both Platonic and Indian. Not attacking them, in a roundabout sense, but being perfectly logical. This is why atheism is pure insanity. I mean, when people will actually point out, like the old parable goes, they'll point out the splinter in your eye while at the same time ignoring the log in their own. The stupidity of atheism. And atheism has nothing to do with God. From the perspective of the Greeks, people have no idea what atheism is. They really are clueless as hell. People think atheism is a denial of God. And that's only a small aspect of what it is. True fundamental atheism is called, and you could do a search on this, by the way, it's called metaphysical atheism. It's a belief that there is a sock puppet but no hand underneath, that there's phenomena but no noumena. It is the belief that you could take 100 poo-flinging monkeys and have them pound on typewriters, and given enough time will produce a 20-volume set of Shakespearean literature. And you know and I know that that's absolutely impossible. They will wag their finger, the idiot atheists, at God. God, and they'll of course point out the countless logical absurdities of God and whatnot, but they will completely ignore the fact that they cannot tell you the definition of energy, where it came from. They can't define a field. Of course, when you talk about fields, you're talking about energy. It's kind of like a distinction without a difference. They will point out the splinter in the eye of the people that are religious, but they will ignore the log in their own. Ultimately, too, and there's a really neat movie made about this. It's called Intelligence Not Required. It was made by that actor, that Jewish actor. I forget his name. He did the guy. His main line in that movie was Bueller. He's a very bland, monotone guy. Anyway, he made a movie called Intelligence Not Required, where he interviewed all these fools, these atheist fools, and the way they actually, since you have to remove God from ultimately these idiot atheist belief systems, which of course is just, atheism is really a religion as its own regard, is that they think that ultimately we can explain the complexity of life and nature. Since we can't have God, you would explain it away by transpermia, or that aliens came and, all you're doing is just, you're just setting up this regressive fallacy. It's like, we can't explain the complexity of life and other things and how energy is. We're going to explain it by, like, aliens. Aliens planted the seed of life. Because when you remove a metaphysical substrate, you have to replace it with something else that's, even more crazy. And the reason why atheism is profane has nothing to do with God. I'm not interested in talking about God or no. By the way, you have to posit something before you can negate it. But when I made that video 48 hours ago talking about metaphysics versus religion, and I was kind of vociferously pounding religion around the ears, so to say, logically and intelligently so, there's a lot of people that were really confused, thinking that I'm like a supporter of atheism, and oh man, furthest thing from the truth. I know, absolutely not. And like I said, some articles that I wrote below if you want to actually read all the hardcore particulars about atheism. By the way, atheism original definition, Philebus 29d of Plato's Republic, not Plato's Republic, Plato's Philebus, and not Plato's Republic, Plato's Works I meant to say, is denial of a metaphysical substrate. It has nothing to do with God one way or the other, so no. A lot of people think I'm like a fan of Dawkins or Hitchens, these atheist superstars. Not only am I not a fan, I said I'd rather, I'd rather tie a soup bone, a soup bone to my butt and let angry dogs, attack me. It's just, no. I've got, no. Man, a lot of people really misinterpreted that. I guess it makes sense. I should have actually anticipated people's misunderstanding. By attacking religion, which he did, and I did do, he is therefore, of course, in love or supports atheism. No, because this is stupidity A, and this is stupidity B. I'm not in favor of either stupidity. No. Both of these are antinomies of the truth, which is opposite of this and this. Whew. I think I clarified that in a simplex fashion without being too verbose, engaging in too much logomachy. I think so. But I'm sure you can protest. Anyway, happy weekend to you. See you later. Bye-bye.